Hey guys, happy Sunday evening. Welcome to our evening live chat. Gonna have a cozy little live chat. Okay, so if you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can learn a little bit more about me by checking out the information box down below. Maybe check out the website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. Maybe check out the Witchy Shop. Lots of handmade items over there, over on Desert Cauldron on Etsy. Those links are down below. Or maybe you're looking for ways to help support the channel, maybe chill with my friends over on Patreon or my YouTube members. But I hope that you guys are having an awesome evening. We had such a big day today, and I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. But first, let's go ahead and make a tea. And I was thinking maybe making a balanced tea for just rejuvenation of energy, just, balancing mind, body, and soul. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops. Just turn our sound off there. There we go. Hey. All right. So first, we already have our hot water nice and boiled, but I was thinking of using a little bit of Tulsi. So I think I have some Tulsi here. I was thinking along the lines of like Tulsi and peppermint and cinnamon, all things that are really good for the nervous system, also really good for the immune system. We've been out and about and, and although I know that cold doesn't equal people getting sick, I know that there's all sorts of reasons and energetic reasons as well, but it's just good to give a little help to our little 3D bodies. I was thinking also maybe a little bit of cardamom. I usually like to pair cardamom and cinnamon together, but maybe some rose petals, of course, for just calm, chill heart, and maybe some gatu kola. Okay, so let's see if I have many. Oh, I do. Well, actually, let's use some. Yeah, we'll use my white cedar. So, all right. So we have white cedar. Good, good. Let's go ahead and place that into my mug with my fancy little tea strainer. I am loving this. Hey, V-Love is here. Hey, happy holidays to you too, my friend. All right, so let's just place that there. Yes. And put a little bit of this white cedar in there. I was thinking of doing a pine needle tea since we are surrounded by pine trees, but we have a lot of ponderosa pine. And although in very, very, very moderation, ponderosa pine needle tea can be very beneficial because it has a lot of vitamin A. It also has vitamin C, also really good for the immune system, but it has been known to be harmful to women who are pregnant. And they noticed that any livestock who had come across ponderosa pine needles had aborted their calves. So if you're pregnant, stay away from the ponderosa pine. However, pinyon pine, which also is, we have a few pinyon pines around here. A lot of the pinyon pine is actually on my property, along with the juniper. They kind of just kind of go together. But pinyon pine, a lot of white pines are really good for teas because they have the same like antioxidants and vitamin C, vitamin A, really good for the immune system, and also really good for people who have some respiratory issues and coughs and things like that. It's really soothing for the throat. So those are deemed pretty safe, but of course, do your own research as well. Okay, so let's put some of our white cedar in. Maybe this will be the last of my white cedar. Oh my goodness. I might have to hit up Sunshine Herbs in Sholo, one of my favorite herb shops, and stock up again. Okay, so making a little mental note. Good thing I'm drinking a tea that's going to be really good for memory, so I don't forget. Oh, hey, Lilith is here. What's up, my friend? She says, greetings, earthlings, greetings to you. live long and prosper. Okay, peppermint. Okay, let's do it. Peppermint, where did I put you? There you are. You be hiding. My handy dandy magical little tea wand. All right, and let's put some peppermint, just a little, just like so. And if we had smell-o-vision, I would have you guys all up in there in my peppermint. And speaking of peppermint, that is something that I have planned for the future garden. So I have all the seeds that I need for our garden. I'm already kind of planning out our raised beds, maybe incorporating some of the lava rock, maybe going down and finding some raised beds. And the reason for having raised beds is not that our soil is poor, but we have a lot of lava rock and caliche in our soil, which means at some point the roots, especially really long tap roots and, root structures of like corn and squash and, things like that, tomatoes, they're going to hit that layer and it's going to stunt their growth and things like that. So I just figured maybe give them a little bit of extra help, with some of those raised beds. But we have a pretty good amount of sunshine, and I am picking some pretty sunny vegetables and herbs and things like that. But I'm definitely going to be growing some peppermint. So that's been a lot of fun planning all that out and picking the companion plants. Picking companion plants is almost like, I don't know, dating for plants. And I feel like I'm Cupid or something, where I'm like the horticultural Cupid. I'm like, ooh, you'd be friends. You guys would get along, Okay, let's see. Let's do a little bit of cinnamon. Probably the same amount as I did the peppermint. So, well, about that much. Actually, that's a lot of cinnamon. Okay, there we go. Since it's not in stick form, it's powder, a little more concentrated. Okay, that works. Let's see. Let's do that cardamom that I spoke of. Here we go. All right. Same amount. A little bit of cardamom will do you actually a little less, because cardamom is strong, especially when it's in its powdered form and it's not a little pod. Okay. All righty. And then our rose petals. Yes. Okay. A little love. Ooh. Which kind should I use? Ooh, maybe I'll use my very special rose petals. The ones still left over from San Diego. They have such a beautiful color to them. They were these like yellow, well, they were like yellowy orange to like red on the tips. It was fantabulous. Okay, so we're gonna put just a few petals. Power of 3. There we go. Holy Trinity. Let's do it. Get your swerve on, my little herby friends. And got to cola. All right. So I know that's in these little dinky tings here. So I'm looking at my little herb tray here. All right. Show yourself to me. I know you're hiding. Unless I've used it all, I have not used it all. There you are. All right. Hello. All right. Just a little bit. Not too much. Good thing, because I only have a little bit. A little bit more, little bit. Okay, we're good. Okay, let's put this back up. And, oh, I also wanted to put some blueberries because berries would be nice. Just a little bit of extra. Blueberries, really good. Antioxidants, again, just pumping up the system, balancing everything out. So I'm going to put those guys in there. And okay, one more thing, just one more thing. Juniper berry. Because if I can't have my pinyon pine in there, I will have juniper. Okay. So let's see, where are you, juniper? There you are. Ta-da! But in order to get the benefits of juniper berry, which is really good for your urinary tract, and basically it was seen as like the miracle berry. It's actually not a berry at all, it's a seed, but everybody calls them berries because they look like little blueberries. But anyway, so good for urinary tract, good for wounds, good for skin issues, good for detoxing, you know, on the inside. They're really good for a whole lot of things. But just like all things, in moderation, my friends, in moderation. Okay, so I'm going to take 3, because again, power of 3. And, oh, hello. My lights want to be a part of me. That's fine. I'm going to take my mortar and pestle. Ta-da! And we're going to smash them up. All right. Just so. Yes. Show me what you're made of. Yes. Okay, that's good. So just enough to break them up, just to get the goodies that are on the inside to their outsides. All right, so we're going to put you also in my little mug skis here. That should be good. All right, let me put my mortar pestle down here. Speaking of mortar and pestle, I have a video coming out tomorrow, and it's from my Tenejas Altas adventure trip that I went with my friends / neighbors in February of last year. So I had all of this footage, and I figured since it's coming up on time for having that trip again in February of this year, that it would be kind of cool to put out last year's video to kind of give everybody a taste of like where I'm going when I'm like, hey, I'm headed out to Tenejas Altas. And you guys are like, what, where, what is that even? But it's known as the high tanks. And it was something that the natives in the area down in kind of the valley, the very, very hot part of Arizona, that they would utilize to basically hydrate themselves and have a flourishing community down there. It was also like this sanctuary when, you know, people are crossing the hot ass desert, and it was like, oh, water, you know, but having water in those tanks in this like granite hillside was dependent on a really good monsoon season. So if there wasn't such a good monsoon season, or it was so hot, it was like drying up the water, you know, some of the lower elevation waters might be empty, some of those tanks. So you'd have to climb higher and higher in the burning sun. And they actually found human remains out there back in the day from people who didn't make it. So it's a very interesting place. And the reason I was thinking of Tenejas Altas when I was talking about mortar and pestles, it's because when I was out there, I saw the metates, I saw the morteros, which is like the grindstones and basically like mortars that the natives had used to grind like corn and like mesquite seeds and things like that, beans. And it was just like, I was walking literally in the footsteps of my ancestors, which are the Pima. And I was like, wow, it was really such an experience. And I'm so glad that you guys are finally going to be able to see that in the video that's coming out 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time tomorrow. So definitely check it out. Okay, so we have this hot water ready to go. Let's pour it in our mug like so. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, bring me the good stuff. All right. I am going to let that steep for 10 to 15 minutes because there's some thicker type herbs in there. So it just takes a little bit longer to extract all that goodness. In the meantime, hold on, let me just cleanse off my little spoon here. In the meantime, I'm very, very quickly, very quickly going to take you guys outside because I was going to do, what I wanted to do was to build a fire in the snow. I'm going to show you guys how to build a fire in the snow and, outside. But the higher elevations got a pretty good amount of snow. Could have had a little bit more snow. We were actually out in the snow today. And although we have some snow here, it's kind of like mud snow. There isn't like a whole lot of snow. So it would be, not so cool just trying to build a fire out there. So I wanted there to be like a plentiful amount of snow to really show you guys, like, if you're literally like shin deep or even knee deep in the snow, like, how do you build a fire? So I wanted to be able to show you guys that outside, but I want to take you guys outside. I know it's dark out there, but I have a cool flashlight that Riley got me for Christmas. So we're going to go out with this very bright flashlight. You guys can quickly see what it looks like out there while that steeps. And then we'll head inside where it's much warmer because it's like 20 some degrees out there. It's like, whew. Oh, you know what I also wanted to do before we did that too? Is I have a little bit of sage and I just wanted to just with my calming tea, just to bring a calming, cleansing vibe to the energy. Also, fun note, this lighter was a gift from one of my friends. I truly appreciate it. All right. Everyone just soak it in. Soak it in. It feels so nice already. I love the smell of sage. I'm also going to be planting sage in our future little garden. Super excited. And also with the companion planting, sage is really good at keeping away certain pests from certain other herbs so that they can grow healthily and happily. And what's nice too is that some herbs or certain plants are really good at the nutrients that they release into soil. Like when doing like the Three Sisters planting, like corn and beans and squash, the beans are really good at taking what's in the air, our oxygen, and turning it into nitrogen for the soil, which is really good for the squash and really good for the corn. And also the squash with its very large leaves and things like that is great at keeping the soil damp and keeping it kind of weed free so that they can soak up as much nutrients as possible, the other plants. And then corn is really good for pest control sometimes, and also as a good windbreak too. So just things to keep in mind when you guys are doing your own gardens. And some of you guys are really good horticulturalists too. So do share your knowledge with us. Okay, I have my flashlight. We're just going to go out that door really quick because it's Chile. Let me bring this down. We're going down. And here we go. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Okay. Hold on. Flashlight. Okay. Well, as you can see, we have some snowy steps here, and there is a little bit of snow out there, but not much. It's mostly mud. So, I mean, it wouldn't be very cool to be building a fire in the snow. And it's like, where's the snow we were promised? I want a refund. I feel gypped, Okay, let's go back inside where it's much warmer. Okay. Okay, I am going to bring some things into the living room where we have a warm fire going for you guys. So just wait here patiently. I shall return. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. I think I have everything. All right. I'll be back. Okay. Here I come, you guys. Alrighty, I'm back. All right, so let's turn out my awesome little fairy lights, give them a little break, skis, and bring my mug of tea as it is still steeping. And I'll grab you guys and let's head out. Oh no, somebody turned out the lights. Help me, help me. Okay. Okay. Here we go. A warm, cozy fire awaits. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Give me just a second. Okay. Get our tea situated. Whoop. There we go. Maybe get you guys over here. How about that? All right. Excellent. Okay. Oh, maybe I'll turn on the overhead light. Better? Yay! Okay. All right. So let's settle in and share some stuff with you guys about today. Hopefully you guys are nice and cozy wherever you are in the world. You could have a nice warm mug of tea or a warm beverage, maybe some blankies, or maybe if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're like, got Mai Tais right now and you're in your board shorts. But for us here in the North, it is a bit chilly. I would prefer to have maybe some snow with my chili. Okay, alrighty. So today, we got to go out into the snow. As soon as we got the report, it was like storm warning in the area. We're like, okay, that probably means there's going to be lots of snow. So we went out last night just to kind of check. You know, we went driving up the road a ways, and it was literally snowing at that moment. So snow was hitting us, and it actually made visibility almost impossible because of the amount of snow that was dumping. We're like, yes, it's going to be awesome tomorrow. So we turned around, went back home, and today we met a couple of friends out to go out to a place called Greens Peak, and also just kind of go around in the forest and stuff. And since we were there in the early morning, we were the first to lay tracks, basically. So it was a lot of fun, slip sliding around. And I just love the way, I don't know, the snow hangs on the trees and the icicles, and the air is just so fresh. And hey, see, that's us. That was actually when we were going up Greens Peak. And so Greens Peak is kind of where they have like the towers up at the top for, radios and things. So you get really good signal when you're up there. Oh, hey, there's me. But yeah, so there was first when we went up there, it was all good, and we went back up there later in the day, and of course more people were awake, and they wanted to go out and play in the snow, so there was like Jeeps out there and Cherokees and trucks and things like that, and all these people were getting stuck going up Greens Peak, like literally the place that we had laid the fresh tracks up. So we had fun helping pull a few people to safety, pulling them out of the ditches and things like that. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. And you know what? Riley's Jeep, we were in his Jeep. He had it in two-wheel drive most of the time. And, a lot of people were complaining, oh, I don't have lockers and I don't have four-wheel drive or, and things like that. But he was in two-wheel drive most of the time. And yes, he does have lockers. And yes, he does have four-wheel drive. But it's like, if you don't need it, you probably don't have to like go overboard. It's like, what do I want to say? It's like, I don't know, like when people dress to overkill for something, it's like, oh, it's a little chilly outside. It's like 50 degrees, but they have like wool everything on and they got like 3 beanies on. And it's like, okay, whoa, a little overkill for the situation, so yeah, but we got to slide around, and Riley got to do a little crash course in winching with me. So he has a winch in the front of his Jeep. And although I have like the basics in my head of like, how, safety with winches, I haven't done it myself. And so he was showing me how to do it myself, so how to engage and disengage the winch and pull it out. And also he bought a new, it's like a tree strap. So when you need to pull yourself out all by yourself, you would, and there's a tree around, you can place this like tree strap around it. And also really good to place it around the base of the tree, because if you think about it, where's the strongest part of the tree? It's, towards the base. You probably don't want to do it up towards the top and you're trying to like pull yourself out. So we did that, showed me how to do the soft shackle. And so first it was just like a straight winch, and there was people driving by and they thought we were stuck, but really I was getting some practice in. So first there was just, the straight winching, and, learning to stand back, because sometimes those cables do break. And also a good FYI is to lift the hood of your vehicle to protect the windshield in case, something unfortunate like that does happen, where the strap breaks or the cable breaks and, slams back into the windshield. Well, protect the windshield, just put the hood of your vehicle up. Anywho, then he was showing me like how to do a Z rig, so there was a, what was it? A snatch ring. So it's just this ring, and basically you put that into this like shackle, a soft shackle, and you put the winch cable around it. So that way there's like less strength needed, but creates more force, so you're adding more pulleys into the system basically. So that's, pulley number 1, going in. And then we did another one where we attached the soft shackle to the Jeep and put another one of those snatch rings in that shackle. And so that way the cable went from like the Jeep to the tree back to the Jeep, and it was basically like, and then back. So it was like a Z shape. Probably better in pictures than I could describe it. And I probably have to do it again, so I would be a lot more proficient. But that was fun. And, we're going to need some more snow so I can get some more practice in. Anyway, so out there, like I said, it's so peaceful, especially when like you're not really sure. I mean, we're kind of sure like where some of the main like Forest Service roads are, but you go off into the trees and it's so quiet, and you can, you know, just the only thing you really hear is the snow falling from the nettles of the pine trees and the oak trees, and it's like fairy dust to me, like when the snow falls and it's like poof, and it's just so silent out there. And seeing the aspen, we have the quaking aspen out here, and just the beautiful white bark of the aspen with a beautiful like sparkly white terrain. And I don't know, it's just so peaceful and calm. It's so far removed from cities and cars and honking and aggression and all of this busy going here and there. And in the forest, and that's probably why I moved out here to the forest, is just to be still, be grounded, notice your surroundings. It's so easy for us when we're surrounded by so many things in the city, places to go shopping, places to go run your errands, and vehicles and roads and stuff going on overhead. It's just that we don't really notice the little critters or notice tracks, from all the different animals, or listen for the sound of, certain birds calling each other. And, for me, that's why I love going out into the forest, is because it centers you, it grounds you, and it reconnects you to all of the other beings that share the planet with us, that are there right beside us. But sometimes, it's so easy to forget that they're there because we have so many distractions around us. But, connecting back to like our Native American ancestors and, the ancestors from all, walks of life, different parts of the world, where they had to live in harmony with the natural world. Otherwise they wouldn't survive. And we were a part of, that chain of existence. And even though we still are, sometimes it's easy to forget that we are, which is why, when people go out into nature, sometimes they see a bear, they're like, oh, a cute little teddy bear, and they want to go over and go hug it. Okay, that's a wild animal. You are a part of the food chain, my friend. So I think it's just good to reacquaint ourselves, just get away from the hubbub. Hey, Chaos is here. It says, if they can't relate with my truth, YouTube, I need them all gone. All I need is 1,000 miles away from every human in the world. Riley and I have said, it would just be great if we could have 100,000 acres in the middle of a national forest, or just have a national forest and just like have a couple acres and just like be away. Not that I hate human beings. I don't hate human beings, but sometimes humans, we can be a little extra. So sometimes I just want to be away, which is why my property is in the middle of nowhere, so. Okay, I think our tea is appropriately steeped now. I believe it's been 10 to 15 minutes. So just gonna top this off. Ta-da! All right, bottoms up, my friends. Chaos says the world unites when the world sees the reality that divided them. That is very true, and something that was being talked about today. Just that there's always been this kind of division, not always, but just division amongst peoples to those that basically embrace the ego, that the ego is God, that because smarts can take us so far that it's like that is my God, it's my brains and what I know, and the status that I have in society and things like that, and and it seems like that's what's worshipped, where there's another group that's like, no, there's a soul, and we have a soul, and we're, connected to God, the divine, that we're all, a part of, the creator. And it's this seeing not everything as how can I use it and what could I get out of it, but rather, how can we live in harmony here, and how can we help each other, and how can we basically come back, to the soul, so I don't know. But, perhaps having that contrast is what aids us as well. It's like saying, how would we know good from evil if we didn't have evil in the world, or if we didn't have good in the world? We wouldn't be able to have that contrast. We would just be like, oh, everything is always just this way, but what is this way, without a little bit of contrast there. Chaos says, I see everything. High vibrations are coming back. Very true. I've seen that in animals as well. When I was living full time up at the property, and even when I go back and, I have to still do some stuff there because I'm still working on my cabin, my little off-grid place, is that, I would do a little call in the morning, and I basically, like, I would say, bosque, bosque, like, hello, nature, hello, forest, basically. And I call my ardillas, ardillitos, pájaros, like my birds, my chipmunks, my squirrels. And I'm just like saying good morning to all of them. And they would come out in the morning to say hello. So there would be bunnies, and the chipmunk would run over. And there was like this little chipmunk that was playing this game where he'd like to play tag and like touch my shoe and then run off, but not too far, just be like, I got you. It got to a point where I could basically, pet one of one of the little squirrels, but also knowing that, like, I was, part of that forest, and they saw it too. It's almost like I think humanity is getting to a certain point where we're just kind of starting to feel into everything around us, almost like telepathically and energetically, where it's like, I know exactly what this, bird is trying to say. It knows what I'm trying to communicate. And so no need for having to learn that language. We're coming back to the energetic language, the one language that we all came from. And I'm seeing that in a lot of things. And a lot of people are, starting to see beyond the beyond, beyond the physical world, beyond the 3D, like seeing the higher motivations and higher perspectives is like, oh, so that's what's really going on, kind of. So it's very nice to see. At first it was like this chaotic thing where it was just a few people, and they were like, oh my gosh, everybody thinks I'm crazy. And of course, some people probably still think that, but I feel like a lot more people are waking up, and just beyond the ego, not that, I feel like the ego, we can learn a lot from it. Like, it can show us where the shadows are, and like, how do you operate so that we can circumvent you, Chaos says, I was born good in a reality that kills everything in the world. Our minds are the future. Believe it. Yeah, it's definitely kind of what people might say, like a reptilian structure, where it's like, there's this hierarchy, and it's like, this eats this, and this dominates this. And I think we're getting away from that, and really seeing the soul and everything, and that it's not separate from me. It's not my enemy, but it's a part of me, and it's part of my learning, my evolution, my shadows, things like that. And on a side note, I do want to say that this tea is helping to rebalance. So thank you, Herbal Allies. And by the way, when I'm making tea, I don't ever see myself as dominating those herbs in my little herb shelf over there. But rather I see them as my friends. And so when I am making tea, if there's a certain herb that I grab and it's like, I don't want to be in your tea, then I don't put that herb in. I'm definitely feeling into things, so even though I'm like, okay, this is what I would like, sometimes what my brain would like is not always energetically what's aligned and what's meant for me. So I usually feel it out energetically too. I'm like, okay, maybe not you, not today. I understand maybe we're not working together right now, but and I think that segues into, a lot of people are becoming more conscious of like how they consume things, not just food related, but, energetically, spiritually, all of that. So I think that's a good thing. um, Chaos says the world is about to learn what you believed in all your life. Exactly. And like I said, a lot of people already have woken up to that too. So that's encouraging. Okay. Whew. When I'm sipping my tea too, I like to try to feel each and every herb I put in there. So right now I'm really feeling and tasting the peppermint. But like if you sit with it, you feel a little bit like the softness of the rose, but I'm also, feeling the spiciness of the cinnamon and the cardamom and just how it's like firing up my system because like I said, we had a big day today, just being out in nature and, walking around in some pretty deep snow in certain places out there. And so I was pretty beat when we got home. And I was like, I was kind of sort of already starting to sleep on the bed. And I was like, I hope I have enough like juju, to do the live chat today, even though I really want to hang out with you guys for the live chat today. Which is why I was like, okay, well, maybe I can make this tea or this tea. And right away in my mind, it was like, no, I'm feeling a balance. Like you need to balance yourself, sister. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. And so those herbs that I chose, those are the ones that jumped out and were like, okay, we're going to help you. This is really good for the endocrine system. This is really good for the nervous system. This is really good for your mind and keeping it sharp and clear. And also just to like bring you down, but not so down that you fall asleep during the live chat. And I was like, cool, I trust you guys. Let's do it. So here we are. Chaos said 100%. I know it. I believe you. I believe you. Okay. I wanted to show you guys something. While we're in this high vibration right now, I have this camera I showed you guys last time. It's a little film camera, technically film camera, Insta film, but it's like a little hybrid. So it takes digital pictures, but you could also print directly from the phone. So it's not, as you take a picture, it prints kind of like Polaroid back in the day, but you can choose, like if you messed up and accidentally took a picture of your own butt, you could, pick and choose. But I thought I'd share some of those. Well, you guys saw some of them in the live chat so far, some of the video and pictures we took today, but I want to show you what it looks like on this camera. So let's back it up a little bit. Yes. Hello. How are you? The fire's talking back there. Okay. Here we go. I don't know how well it's going to come out, but I'm going to try. There we go. So that is Riley's Jeep that we're in. Where was this one at? I think this was up at Greens Peak. And then just the energy and the peacefulness of those stoic ancestors just in the trees there. And then there, some of the aspen and the fir and ponderosa. In the snow some more. I don't know if I'll print all these pictures, but, and this is a really good one. That's me and Riley. Okay, this one I didn't take today, but anyway, that's Bader Ski. It's Bader. He's in the other room, probably napping. Okay. But anyway, I thought it would be fun to share that with you guys today. Chaos says, I show the world the reality they lived in all their life, and the future unites when they see the reality of the divide with them. Yes, energy, frequency, vibration. Exactly. And that's what many of us, myself included, have been trying to really work with and continue working on, is feeling into things. Because of course, my brain is like, oh, need to do this, need to do that, like planning the garden. I was like, at first I wanted to do the garden up at my property, but then I was really feeling called to do it here on this property. And plus it makes more sense too. I'd be able to tend to it, every day. And I like going out, especially, having my tea, and when the mornings warm up, going out there and just saying hello to everything, and saying hello to the little seedlings that would be taking off in the spring. Of course, I'm going to start them indoors and talk to them every day and nurture them, just kind of feel into them. And especially with the herbs and the vegetables that I chose, even though I had all of these seed packets. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, well, it would be smart to do this, and it would be smart to do this and this and this. And then I was like, no. I had to scrap that. And I was like, okay, these guys want to work with these guys. These guys want to test out this climate and see how it goes. And just help them in their soul's growth as well. Right now they're just chilling, hibernating as seeds. And some of them are like, not this year or not today, so, but some are ready to flourish and eventually see what it's like above ground. So they will be happy little friends in the garden. I'll be very happy to help them along, and as they help me along as well. So I'm very excited about that. Cal says, that's why YouTube brought me here. I can explain her truth in easy mode YouTube. I always could. Well, I am happy to have you here, my friend. And I am a big believer in that, we're always where we're meant to be, even when we get frustrated, it's like, oh, I should be here, or I get frustrated with this, but if you trust in basically the plan, then a lot of that anxiety and frustration that the ego encounters goes away, because you basically go into flow and you understand the bigger picture of like, okay, I'm meant to be here. Maybe I don't know exactly why yet, but I know I need to be here for some form of learning, or perhaps there's something I have to offer, or that the situation or the environment or the people have to offer me. So, and I'm not trying to say I'm like on point with that every day, but it's something that I bring myself back to. And I think a lot of that I can thank the forest for helping me with that, coming back to that, because believe me, when I first moved onto the property and I was first getting everything together for it's like 100% off grid there. I have water, I have my solar, I have septic and everything. And I was like, I would try to force things, and it's like, you can't force it up there. And I'm so far from town. I'm like 45 minutes from town. So you have to figure out how to do things yourself. If something breaks, you have to create your own tool, to figure out how to fix it, or, get creative. And it just really helped me to think outside the box. And since everything was so much more slowed down, I got to really see how, the animals build their homes. How do they, treat each day? What do they do when the weather's like, X, Y, or Z? And, just really start embracing that, because it's like, well, they survive out here in 100% harmony. And, here I am trying to impose something that's not working. So maybe I should take a cue from them. And that's what really helped when I was up there. Let's see. Chaos says, Illuminati dances with me. Ooh, And Lila says, it's almost 5 a.m. I woke up, but I'm still half asleep. Well, hopefully just, with this cozy atmosphere, just don't force it. As we were saying, just go with the flow. Just rise as you need, my friend. And Chaos says, I see you. Full reset for the masses. I am waiting. I am waiting for sure. But time doesn't exist. So, no need to rush. We'll get there eventually. Okay. I did want to mention also, if anybody wanted to do super chats or super stickers, we could do that if you would like. But, if you just want to hang with me and just get cozy with our fire back there, then, I'm not going to hate on that. I'm really happy just chilling here with you guys. But I did want to say thank you to everybody who comes to hang out with me. I know that I'm just this girl, here in the mountains, hanging out, talking to my trees, my animals, and things like that. So I really appreciate everybody who, likes to hang out with my weirdness, and and to all the people that have supported this channel in one way or another, either through subscribing or sharing my videos, or just some people just email me, or they DM me on Instagram and they want to have a chat, and I've made so many new friends that way, and I really appreciate you guys. And there are people that help through a YouTube membership too, because so that I can continue making handmade goods and carrying on the tradition of my ancestors and sharing that with others. And I really appreciate it. So thank you to my YouTube members. You know who you are. You got the little happy colored kitty heads next to your name. There's a little shout out to our Lyran friends like Duality Tale and Costalini and Cinnamon Girl 8611, Jonathan Cleese and Nancy from Macron's Intuition. And all of my Patreon friends, which I have the video for Patreon coming out, and it's Wokukutaka, which is the Hopi name for Sasquatch, our earth friend beings. And so they have a beautiful creation story that kind of involves him, and actually coincides with, what I find fascinating with a lot of like our native stories, and also other cultures around the world, how they do go along with a lot of the things that have happened in the Bible as well. So it's like interesting to see the evolution and how these things kind of come together. And so actually Wokukutaka is part of what actually could be found in the Bible as well, which is rather interesting. But I'm doing a little storytelling with it. So I am basically, since it is an oral tradition, retelling, that Hopi story of creation, and, where in our translation, Sasquatch, kind of comes into the fourth world. Because we're in the fourth world right now. And that there was the destruction of the third world and the second world and the first world, and how many of the Hopi are waiting for the new world, the fifth world, after the destruction of the fourth world, which is the world that we are currently in. When they say the day that the blue star Kachina comes back and all would see, when it is time for that new earth to begin. And what many Christians would say, that is Jesus's return, the basically the return of the Son. Okay. I didn't want to get off topic, but anyway, so yeah, that was basically for my Patreon friends. That video is coming out this week. So I wanted to get lots of beautiful footage when we're out in the forest too. And also I wanted them to be able to feel into the video, because I think so much can be felt through video, that you don't necessarily have to be in a particular place to feel its energy and to connect to it. So I wanted to take as much video as possible, so I can do the story along with that wonderful video. So anyway, you guys will be getting that this week. And for all my subscribers, everybody on YouTube, the video of Tenejas Altas, which is also a very beautiful spiritual place. That's coming out tomorrow. So that's for everybody. But Wukotaka, that is for my Patreon friends. So thank you to Linda and Sugna Baby and Casey Gritter and Joel and Oz and Palu and Brandy, Brian, Lily, Dana, Crystal, Easy Does It, Jamie, and Ashley. Love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's see. Let's go back up here. Chaos says the truth bankrupts the reality for all of the best reasons in the world. I agree. And Lilith says, we love you. Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. So I love hanging out with you guys on Sundays. Chaos says, YouTube knows you have something or they would have never brought me here. The Bible's been remixed more times than Madonna. Oh, well, Madonna, oh my goodness. Can we say Madonna is cabal? Chaos says, the future is coming. And Lilith says, you're preaching to the church, my dude. And Chaos says, I never read a book in my life, but I see more than everyone in the world. Feeling into the books, and eventually, maybe we won't have to have the written word, which is probably why, like my ancestors and many ancestors around the world, everything was an oral tradition. It was passed down. It was energy. So there was no need to write it. But once things began, being written, history and things like that, well, history can be rewritten by those who are the victors, So, which is why we have to have that other sense about us. Okay, well, my goodness. I'm kind of feeling that for our guided meditation this evening, I think I'm going to tap into, at first I was like thinking, oh, well, maybe I could tap into the forest, that we're out into today. Maybe that'll help us with the meditation. It was like, no. You're tapping into these herbs. These herbs would like to help us. So not only helping me with my rebalancing, not just of my physical body, but, energetically as well. And hopefully you guys will be able to benefit from that too. It is very good. Very good. Something, and I will share it with you that, so, okay, as you guys probably already know, us being soul, right? We're energy. We're made of energy. Yes, we have this fleshy little earth suit that we are inhabiting for the moment, but energy feels into other energy. Sometimes that energy could be rather visual. Sometimes it's, felt. But when I was a lot younger, at first it was just like bits and pieces. I would hear things or feel things, see things, and just kind of know things. But it seems like lately, even though, I would say that I have a pretty good sense. I'm like no Master Yoda or anything, but that I have a pretty good sense of the world beyond this world. But it seems like it's so much more intense these days, where it's not like I'm trying to tap in. Before it would be, I could have my physical 3D existence, and then when I want to tap in, I would tap in. Like I would tap into a friend that needs help, or somebody is needing help with some ailment, and they want me to do like a body scan and look inside, see kind of what's going on. Where does that come from energetically? But now it's like it's all just there, and there's no like quote unquote turning it off. It's just there. It's intense. It's, in my dreams where it's always been, but it's so much more. And to the point where, well, there's been like light stuff and dark stuff, as the whole world is light and dark. But so there was this thing that happened. Let me just have a little bit more tea before I tell this story. Mm. Let me see. Let me just quick look here. Chaos says, we're so much more. I'll tap in and ground with nature with everyone in the world, and sees the truth. And says, do you know everyone in the world lives in the reality that kills everything in the world? And also, we create our own realities too. And a lot of those realities just kind of sync up, I suppose. Hmm. Okay. So, one evening, um, Riley and I had already gone to bed, and I woke up at, I don't know, I'm guessing it was, I can't really remember now. I know it was the early morning. It was probably like 3:30 in the morning, something like that. It was still pretty dark outside. And I woke up and I looked around and I was like, because I thought sometimes I wake up because I hear a noise or something. So, but I didn't really see anything. So I closed my eyes and I was starting to lay there, and my mind was just kind of busy with like, oh, while it's awake, like, what am I going to do tomorrow? I'm just like random thoughts, and I hear what I think is Riley's sister who lives with us. I thought she was coming into the room because sometimes she wears this jacket that makes like a swishy sound. And so I heard the swishy jacket and I was thinking, oh, like, maybe she's coming in, for something, but, we're asleep though. She would see that we're asleep. But she was coming to my side of the bed and I was thinking, well, that's strange, but I had my eyes closed still. And so then I opened my eyes and it was this lady who was like dressed all Victorian or something. All I remember, she had like this top hat and she had this like curly red hair. And she was really pale. And she had come in and she was just like giving me the wildest look. And I was like, I had my eyes open, like they were literally open. And I was just like looking, and the bedroom looked different though. It was like it was our bedroom, but if it was a little bit different, like if one side of the room was now this side of the room and things were just like crisscrossed and switched for just a moment. And like, and in this version of the bedroom, like my purse was no longer, where I usually keep it. It was like right next to the bed. And this person was just like, what would she say? That you're just like, oh, you're keeping, treats for me or something. And she was looking through my purse and she like grabbed something. I forgot what it was. She grabbed something out of it. And she started heading out, and I sat up in bed and I was looking at her and I tried to yell thief. And so but no voice was coming out. I was like, thief, thief, and she was very fast and she had made it to the stairs. But again, in this like version, the stairs are like in front of our door where you wouldn't be able to see the stairs from the bedroom door. And it was like moved and she like went up and just whoof, like a flash. And so I tried to wake Riley up. I was like, Riley, but he wouldn't wake up. And I was just like, okay, well, I'll just, go back to sleep. And I just thought it was very interesting because although, yes, I see a lot of energies that aren't necessarily, always human spirit, but it was the first time where it was like a dream, but my eyes were awake. And I know my eyes were awake because I was sitting there for a while before I finally just like laid in bed with my eyes like, at the covers, and I was like looking up for a while. So it's like I was awake and, all of this, where it was like I saw a different version of our room, almost like a different timeline or something. And it was just very strange. So I thought I would mention that because that's not the first time that's happened. Like this has now happened like a few times, not with that same lady, but I just find it interesting. It's like, it's not just like, oh, I might be in a new timeline right now, or oh, we've jumped timelines, or some thing or whatever is going on, but it's like visceral and very visual. So very interesting. Just thought I would share that with you. While we're on the topic of speaking about energetic things, um, let's see. Cass says, thank you for saying it. And Lilith says, I do have a request. Do let me know. And Cass says, I found the astral before I learned how the entire world lived for 250 years. I flew through wormholes in the astral before I learned what the entire world is unaware of. Yeah, that's something, and I still do it in the waking, well, there's the waking dream, sleeping dream, but in the sleeping dream state where I'm always, usually always, about 90% of the time, I'm always flying. And I have decided that walking is just too cumbersome and slow. So it's just easier for me to fly through walls. It's just easier for me to, fly over to wherever it is that I need to go to, whatever dimension is needed. And, perhaps we'll get to a point where we'll just be able to do that. Yeah, I'm here for it. I ever since I was a little kid, I've been trying to fly. I was like, not with airplanes, not with like physical, 3D stuff, but I was like, I just know that we someday will learn how to do that. But perhaps myself and other people aren't there yet, but who knows? There might be some people who have, and I'm pretty sure the news would never report on that. It's like, and today somebody was learned the ins and outs of our 3D world and has learned how to fly. I don't think they're going to put that onto the news. Chaos says, it's true. Lilith says, I recently did a blood test and one of the markers was quite high. Would it be possible for you to see what's up? Sure, we could do that. Just do a little body check. We could do that. And Chaos says, truth for the win. Always truth for the win. Okay. Okay. So, Lilith, did you want me to pull a card on it? Did you want me to do a body scan? Or just look more into the energetic reason? It could be coming, well, from plethora of things. Could be a trauma, as we were talking about balance with that T, could be an imbalance, could be past life, could be a lot of different things. But yeah, we could definitely take a look. Whatever is most accurate. Okay. All right. Well, let me have a little sip of tea. And then we'll do a little check-in. And then I think we could do a guided meditation with our herb friends, our little herbal allies. I think that'd be really good. Okay. Speaking of herbal allies, peppermint. Peppermint's the one that I wanted to speak on, the one that's going to be growing in the garden. That feels like that's the one that's most prominent, that's really going to be helping out with the guided meditation as well. But yes, peppermint, so good for a lot of things, not just our digestive system and our nervous system, but also just mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Just it's such an herb. It's definitely a vibe for this upcoming week. Okay, so Lilith, let's do this. Ugh. Sorry, my legs are a little stiff. Who knew that working the wench was okay. Okay, so as I'm looking in straight away, my focus is going right to the heart. And you know how they have like video sometimes of like how you see a beating heart, but it's like the heart is like anxious, but sad, but nervous, but frustrated. It's like it doesn't know what to do. Like, do I remain chill? Do I beat out of control? Like, basically, am I supposed to like prep her for, you know, fight or flight? Like, what are we doing? And so it's throwing off a lot of the systems that would be associated with the heart, you know, which is, I don't know, just like an overall feeling of like just confusion. Do I relax, or do I just take off running? What do I need to do? Okay, so there's one phrase that the heart is saying right now, and it says never enough. As if the things you do are never enough. Like never enough in the 3D sense. Like, have I also in the 4D sense? Like, am I doing all I need to spiritually? Do I need to? And even though the heart's like, I don't necessarily care how others view me, it's myself. It's been placed on myself. That somehow what I do is never enough. And so the soul is saying, as relates to the heart, that programming is not yours. That feeling of uneasiness, anxiousness, like don't know if I'm in the right place right now, right time, never enough. It says it goes all the way back to the Magdalene line. The women. Someone who literally was a follower of Jesus, a disciple, walked with him. And yet later, the energy of all that was, she was never enough. The way she was written. And so it's a portion that you're working on now. And yes, you could connect it to the physical, women in your family. But it's just another layer that you're working on right now. And so it is being felt in the heart. And the heart, basically is the rhythm, the ultimate balance keeper of everything in your physical body. It is what many cultures would say the real brain. And what science, as they say, is catching up to. So although, of course, work on the physical body, work on, whoever it is you trust, in working with that. But energetically, this is going back and reconnecting. And it makes sense because, well, the ascended one that she walked with, that energy is being felt again in this day, this age. And so it's like a preparation. Being okay with you, being fine with now, and feeling that peace. Feeling that trust. Okay. I hope that information helped. But yeah, it was just a wow. It was just like going so far back down the female lineage. Wow. Whew. Okay. Um, um, let's see. Chaos was saying, don't see me. I have everything the world needs and I haven't told anyone. Well, feel it in the collective consciousness, because that's where the soul feels into it. Lola says it was profound. So yeah, I hope it was probably a lot to unpack there, but well, maybe when we chat again on Wednesday, we can unpack that while we're unpacking our savage wild. So wow, thank you for allowing me to tap in, by the way. It was just very interesting. It's just like the heart was chaotic almost. Says, but helpful. Thank you. You are very, very welcome. Chaos says, if you believe in the chosen one, believe God chose me and I don't want it. Well, I feel that, well, we all have a purpose here. And sometimes it's difficult to see at certain times, but maybe we're not meant to see at certain times, if that makes sense. Right now, I'm just like, I'm so much in Magdalene's energy. Just whoo. But wow. I feel like I do need to do the guided meditation now. I'm like, okay. So peppermint plus those other herbs that we were hanging out with, cinnamon and cardamom and rose petals, hello, the rose lineage, Gatsucola and the white cedar, and also juniper berries, which is like the ultimate in healing. Not that the other ones aren't healing, but just what I connect to a lot is juniper. So juniper is also very sacred to many native cultures, especially in this area. The Navajo or the Dene, they would call the juniper berry Gad. So Gad, well, that's our spelling of it, but it's Gad. But I think that's interesting because Gad sounds like God in the juniper berry. That's interesting. All right. So yeah, let's do that. Let's tap into those herbs. Let's help to bring balance, help us to see that balance, bringing in, Jesus' energy. That's, that's my dude. So helping to guide us and helping us to see our path, see where we need to heal the most. Sometimes we're always like, I need, heal this for me, do this for me. But, sometimes all that stuff is there. It's just hard for us to see. So just asking for clarity as we, ask for the peace and balance so that we can have this clarity, so we can see the path that lays ahead. So, all right. I'm gonna hold on to the herbs because some of them have settled at the bottom of the mug, and I feel like they're just really going to help for this meditation. So let's actually bring you guys into the fire, not like literally into the fire, but I think it would be great just to feel into that fiery energy. Okay, give me just a moment, you guys. I'll resituate situate you guys. Mhm. There we go. Beautiful. And I'll get out of the way so you guys don't have to look at my mug while I... Ooh, heck yeah, fire's ready to go. I love it. You keep doing you, boo. Okay, all right, I'll get out of the way. Well, I was going to turn the lights off, but nah, that's fine. Okay. Ooh, hold on. I'm feeling... I don't know if the flute will go well, but we'll try it. I was just going to do it vocally, but I think sacred flute is in order. All right. Hold on. I'm going to move my mic just in case. All right. All right, you guys, go ahead and find yourself a nice, comfortable space. A place you'll be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be laying in your bed, sitting in a chair, perhaps seated on the floor next to a roaring fire, or maybe you are laying underneath the stars, underneath your favorite tree. And as you begin to settle yourself this evening, just bring your awareness to the breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Notice how it feels as the breath enters the body. How does it feel as it escapes your lips? Do you feel stuck or a blockage in a certain area of the body? Is it in a foot, in the back, in your head? And as you breathe that life and light into this stuck feeling. Perhaps it feels like a sticky mass, or it could feel heavy. We are going to breathe that light into it. And as you exhale, just feel it leaving the body to be transmuted into something beautiful. And as you continue breathing in this way, allow the crackling of the fire to allow you to feel warm, safe, and comforted. As we go further into this meditation, and with the aid of our ally this week, peppermint, we feel into that breath, into that nervous system, into that drive to do or not to do. And we ask for clarity as we continue moving forward. Or perhaps you're being asked to take a pause. Whatever the message, it is personal for you, go ahead and thank Peppermint and any clarity that came to you during this meditation as you call your energy back into your physical form, perhaps feeling it in your fingers and toes and giving them a little wiggle. And perhaps giving yourself a nice big stretch. And on that, the logs fell. Anyway, hoping you guys enjoyed this evening's cozy live chat and all the pictures that we had and some of the video from our trip today to the outdoors. Let me just scooch you back a little bit. All right. Hey, hope you come back. Let's see, let me look at some of your comments. Let's see, Chaos says, I hope you can play it. Lila says, sent you a donation. I was having breakfast before. And no worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Lilith. Chaos says, go. I won't be blocked when I drop the truth the world has never seen before. Yes, there's no blocking truth. There's no blocking truth. Not anymore. And Lilith says, feline purrs and satisfaction. Thank you so much, Tara. You are very welcome. Like I said, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your evening. Well, Lilith and other people in the other parts of the world, I hope that you have a beautiful morning and that you guys have a fantabulous week. I would definitely suggest, meditating with perhaps our herbal ally, Peppermint, and seeing in what ways you can use it energetically, spiritually, perhaps physically, maybe having it in a tea, or maybe it's just sitting and meditating with the plant itself, or maybe just calling in its energy and see what it has for you, in what way it can help to calm, relax, and release. So much to learn from all these different iterations of the divine around us. So anyway, I am going to wind down for the evening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Have a fabulous week. I will catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys.